Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a very exciting reading vlog. Today is the 19th of August, which means finally C.E. Ricci's new book is out. If you don't know who C.E. Ricci is, she's an author. She predominantly writes like gay based books and I love her. I love her work, I love her writing. I've loved most of her books. I think the only books I haven't enjoyed have been the duology of that, just because it was a bit too dark for me. I didn't really love that aspect of it, but all her other books I have loved. She does gay kind of, I guess, romance that's generally enemies to lovers so beautifully. She does it so well. She's one of the only authors who I can read like the smutty scenes and actually enjoy, because she does the build up of the characters. Just like one of my favorite authors in terms of doing build ups, writing really good characters, writing a solid story, and also just having like amazing tension between the two characters, and I absolutely love it. So she's not an author that releases books quickly. She takes quite some time in between each of her releases, which I think shows in the books that she does write and that they make sense and they don't feel rushed, and I really appreciate that. But with that, it means that books take so long to come out, and sometimes I just really want to read a C.E. Ricci book and she's not got a new one out. But today is not that day. Today we have finally gotten the beautiful Plain Dirty. Again, you can't really see on a Kindle, especially with this cover. It's basically just a shirtless man. Shock, surprise. I think like all of her covers are like shirtless men. But it is here and I have in fact started reading it. So this is the Late and New book 4. This is part of her college series. She has, I think, 2 college series. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she has a couple of different series. This is part of the Late and New series, which we have read from before. I'm assuming you probably have as well if you like C.E. Ricci, but I've read all the books in the Late and New series, I believe. I think Iced Out is from the Late and New series, and that's book 1, and that was one of my favorite books. It is one of my favorite like gay hockey romance books ever. And so I believe I've met both of these characters. It's been so long since I've read a C.E. Ricci book though, that I kind of don't exactly remember who these characters are, which is kind of nice. Like, it's a good surprise, but I'm pretty sure both of these characters have probably been in previous books, because each book has followed a different couple, but also a different person who's part of a different sporting team. This one is following our 2 main characters, Madden and I think Theo. Let me get up the information about this book. It is Theo. It is indeed Theo. So we're following Madden and Theo in this book. Theo is friends with some characters that we've met in the other books. And again, I can't quite remember him, but I'm sure he was probably in the other books as well. But Theo's dad has basically fucked their family over. Not really, but kind of. He has divorced. Theo's mum is now married to a secretary who just happens to be Madden's mum. So this is a stepbrother, enemies to lovers, rivalry, sport, romance, which just ticks all the boxes I have. Enemies to lovers is like my favorite trope ever. Sport, love it. Don't love baseball very much. I have an interest in it, but it's still interesting to see. Set in college, another tick. And stepbrothers, which I used to enjoy if it was done right. And same thing, if it's done well, which C.E. Ricci does most tropes quite well, I imagine it's going to be good. But yeah, Theo is rightfully pissed about what his dad has done, the choices he's made, and the fact that Madden, who is his rival in college baseball, is now his new stepbrother, which rightfully so. I would be pissed too. And so we have seen them, I think 6 months prior in the, what's it called? Prequel? No, in the beginning part. We've seen them 6 months prior playing a baseball game where Madden beats Theo. We see their intense hatred for each other there. And then it skips to 6 months where we learn that Theo and Madden are now stepbrothers, and Dad is trying to play happy family, and Theo's like, fuck that, I don't want a single part of it. And Madden is just riling him up. Left and right, riling him up. So that's where I'm up to. I think I'm like 6% of the way through. Yeah, literally 6% of the way through. I started it as soon as I woke up this morning, and I've never made a better decision. I'm loving it so far. Hello everybody, welcome back. I just want to give a quick update before I go to work around how the book is going. I'm around like 30% of the way through it, I would say. And I think maybe my someone started their car, apologies. I think maybe my expectations were a little bit different to what the book is delivering. I love, and you know, this might be a really toxic thing to say, but I love when it's like genuine enemies to lovers. Like both parties really dislike / hate each other, and you can feel that animosity, and that's for like most of the book until the tension just builds to a point where they have to admit their attraction to each other and it explodes. That's what I love. Regardless of how maybe, you know, not ideal that is in real life, in a book that's what I want. And in this book, I don't feel like that's the case. It's been mainly Theo that has not liked Madden, but Madden has actually been making an effort and doesn't have that same kind of hatred towards Theo that he has towards him. And I think that's making it a bit different, and I feel like the tension has lasted to like this 30% mark where now they have slept together, and I don't know if it's going to continue. I hope it does. But as of right now, they've, you know, both come to terms with the fact that it's maybe more attraction than this dislike. And I imagine Theo will probably struggle a bit more with kind of the concept of, you know, he's discussed it's not really the fact that he likes guys that's confronting. It's more the fact that this is like his rival, and this is his rival university team, and that's what he's struggling with. And so I think maybe that will cause a bit more tension. But as of right now, I'd say it's definitely not my favorite out of this series. Iced Out will always remain my favorite, and we got to see Quentin Oakley, and that I loved. That really filled what I wanted out of this book a little bit. And then there was just the wasted potential of the sharing one bed trope when they went on holiday. And that pissed me off a little bit, because I was like, what is the point of sharing one bed if not to get the, oh, I accidentally woke up in his arms, or oh, there was a light little touch of hands. You know what I mean? That's the whole point of the one bed trope, is to get those scenes, and we didn't get them. And I was so disappointed. I was like, you're kidding. That's all I wanted from them sharing one bed, was that. So I wish it had that, and then I also wish that if it's going to be portrayed as an enemies to lovers, it was more enemies, because I know that Ricci can write that. She's done it so well in her other books that I'm a little bit maybe let down that this book isn't quite that. And again, that might be because that's my expectation, is that it was meant to be like real enemies to lovers, and it's not. But yeah, that's what I'm feeling so far. I'm still going to keep reading it because I'm still enjoying it and having a good time. I really like both of them, and I think that their relationship will be really good. It's just not what I thought it would be to get there in the end. So yeah, those are my thoughts. If you guys are reading it as well, let me know if you had the same maybe like want for it to be more enemies to lovers than what it really is. I'd say maybe like rivals to lovers for the first 20% is what it should be advertised as, not maybe like enemies to lovers. So if that was your expectation going into it, just be warned, it's not really enemies to lovers. And again, I know C.E. Ricci can do that really well, because Iced Out is one of my favorite like queer romances ever, and that book is full of enemies to lovers done well. So I know it's in her. So I'm gonna finish Iced Out. No, I'm not reading Iced Out. See, that's what I want to be reading. I'm going to finish this one and then maybe continue reading Atmosphere, but I do think I need a bit of a break from romance and I need more fantasy. So that's the update for now. I need to go to work, and I'll talk to you guys at a later date. Also, just quickly before I went, I did finish Daisy Jones and the Six last night, and I was just sat there sobbing, tears streaming. It was so fantastic. If you've not watched it, I could not recommend it more. Everything about it, the cinematography, the outfits, the details, the acting, the music. And I don't really like rock kind of music. I don't really listen to a lot of older music. So I was really surprised at how much I actually loved it. But it's amazing. I'd highly recommend watching it. And then the new Summer I Turned Pretty episode came out and oh my God, more tears. So yeah, those are my TV updates. I actually do need to go, so I'm going to leave and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hello everybody. I am coming to you with an exciting update. I thought that C. Ricci's book would be the book that got me out. I don't think I was in a reading slump, but nothing I was reading was really grabbing me and I was like, yes, I'm obsessed with this. I can't put this down. Nothing was quite like that. And I thought C. Ricci's book would be. Unfortunately, it wasn't, just due to the things I spoke about earlier in this vlog. I feel like it wasn't enemies to lovers enough. And that wasn't really the premise. Like, it was for like 20% of the way through the book, and that's kind of all it felt like. The tension didn't feel like it was there enough for me either. And just overall, I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm still going to read it, but it's not wowing me. It's not what I thought it would be, and that's okay. Like, that's, you know, on me for having a certain expectation. And it's a shame because I have loved C. Ricci's work in the past and this is still good. Like, this is not a bad book by any means. It's just not quite what I wanted, and so it's kind of lost me a little bit. I'm a bit bored with it currently. And so then I knew that this book was coming out, and it was a book I wanted to pick up and read. I spoke about it in the last vlog, but I was not expecting to be obsessed with this book and fall in love with it. So this is The Unlikely Spare by Jax Calder. I have read Jax Calder before multiple times. There's 2 other books in this series and I've read both of them and I've really enjoyed them. I really like Jax Calder's writing. I think she's quite witty and quite funny, and I appreciate that sense of humor a lot in her writing and in her characters, that they can be both quite deep and have a strong connection that way emotionally with some depth. But there's also a lot of humor in her characters and in their banter together. And I really appreciate that. And I also think Jax Calder is Australian. Pretty sure she's an Australian author. Hence the Sydney Opera House on the cover of this book, which I never thought I'd see, but I'll absolutely take it as an Australian. That's cool to see. And so this book, we are following Nicholas, who is the spare heir, right? His whole life, he's been like 12th in position to get the crown for the British royal family. And then due to past incidents in the past couple of books, I think there's only been 2 others, but due to the past 2 other books incidents, he's now been thrust forward into like 2nd position to take the throne. And so essentially going from spare heir, who had this real playboy persona to him, to now having to take on these responsibilities that comes with being in 2nd place, and due to other characters and kind of where they're at. And so he's having to do this Australian New Zealand tour, and I love Nicholas. I will protect Nicholas with all being. I think he's so funny and I think she's done really well. A lot of people do that playboy persona that is actually deep and actually cares really well, and a lot of people do that. And sometimes it works out and it's done fantastically, and sometimes it's really not. I feel like this is an instance where it's worked out really well, and I love Nicholas as a character. I think he's great and he has those aspects about him I'm obsessed with, and his banter and his wit are top tier. And then our other main character we have, now I just feel I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Ian O'Connell. He's Irish and he has been a detective working undercover for Scotland Yard for ages. Oh my God, my soup! Apologies everyone, I just had a bit of a soup disaster. My soup has gone everywhere, but we're sorted, we're fixed. I can now talk about the book. So Ian O'Connell, he has been working undercover for Scotland Yard for years now. And basically he has been then assigned as sort of like his in to getting his promotion to work within the Royal Protection Unit due to, I don't want to spoil it, but I guess the second book, what happens is there's a security breach within the royal family, and this then raises concerns for Nicholas and his safety, especially going to Australia and New Zealand, because they do believe it might be someone within the team, not external to the team. And so he has been put as Nicholas's bodyguard, undercover, trying to figure out who is targeting the royal family, who's targeting Nicholas. And with this just comes the best tension I have read about in ages. Such strong chemistry and tension without even having had sex. And it's so good. I love them both as characters individually. I love that Eon is more of like that broody but very honest, says what he means character, and then Nicholas is more of like that light playboy with obviously more depth that Eon is trying to figure out. I mean, they're both trying to figure each other out and how they fit, and it's so good. I'm obsessed with them as characters. I'm obsessed with the tension. I'm obsessed with their relationship. I love getting to see them on tour. Forced proximity, bodyguards. I mean, it's amazing. I really appreciate Jax Calder talking about colonization in this book as well, which she does put it as a trigger warning at the start, but it's not even just a small mention in this book. It's a massive part of it, and I think that's done really well and is so important, because I just don't think you can have a book about the British royal family without the discussions of how their symbol and how Britain has colonized so many places in this world and stripped people of their culture. And I know in Australia, I imagine it's pretty similar in most places, but the First Nations people here who have suffered so much at the hands of that, and that just generational trauma that comes with it. And I think it's really important to discuss that, because I couldn't imagine being a part of an institute that has fucked up so many people's lives and countries, and it must just be such a internal conflict. But I think that's what I really like about Nicholas, is that he is having that constant like, I didn't do this, but I am a part of a family for generations who have done that and who symbolize doing that to all these other places. And how do I make this world better and not contribute the same way that they have? And I think that would be a really hard position to be in, because it is that of, I don't believe in this isn't what I value, I wouldn't do this. But you're a symbolism of that institution that has just historically done that to so many places. It's a really important discussion, and I'm really glad that Jax Calder has included that in this book, because I love Red, White and Royal Blue. I do. I think it's such a good book. I love it. But obviously that's more of a focus on the romance, and there's not as much critical kind of discussion around the British monarchy and how much that they have fucked this world up in different places, different ways. And so I'm really glad that she's had that conversation, because I think it's really important to have in books. And I really appreciate that that's something Nicholas is constantly kind of thinking of and struggling with in a way. And I think for Eon, it's that same struggle of he's working for an institution that has massively impacted Ireland and their history as well. And it's just really interesting, and I really appreciate that added kind of depth, because she didn't need to talk about it, but she has, and I really love that. I'm currently 45% of the way through this book, and I'm just obsessed with it. I love it. It's got everything that I've wanted in it. I love how it's taken a really long time. We're 45%, so almost 50% of the way through this book, and they've just kissed. And I love that it's been such a build-up of tension, but also kind of more like high stakes adds to that a little bit. And then just seeing their relationship and seeing them constantly trying to figure each other out. And then knowing that obviously Eon is his guard. Eon also knows he's undercover. And then him being the prince. It's so many layers of what the fuck do we do with this? And I think that always adds a bit more to a story. And yeah, I'm just loving it. I think it's fantastic. It's probably been my favorite new release that I've read in a little bit. It's so good. I can't wait to see where it goes. I think these two, when that tension and that kind of really strong dislike for each other kind of, I don't think it's going to stop because I think they have really good banter and I think that's just going to be part of their relationship. But I just think they're going to have a really beautiful relationship at the end of this book. And I just wasn't expecting to love this book so much. Like, I thought I'd read it and I'd enjoy it, but I wasn't expecting this level of like, oh, I'm obsessed with this book, I'm in love with this book at all. And so it was a really nice surprise, actually, especially when I thought the See You Ricky book would be that for me, and it wasn't. And then I was like, I'll just give this a go and see. And it's exactly what I needed. And it's like the universe knew. And I'm so grateful because I'm in love with it. So that's the reading update. I am going to have a shower, watch The Institute, and then read. Because that's all I want to do. But I do really want to listen to... oh my god. I do really want to watch The Institute as well. So then I'll read after that. And that's the reading update. Everyone, I have just gotten to, 72% of this book, and oh my god, the plot twist. I could kind of, like a split second, see one of them happening, but the second one, I did not see happening at all, actually. Maybe I was just being oblivious, but I did not see that. That actually got me. And I feel for Eon so much. Like, that level of betrayal, no. I'd be so unwell if this was me. Basically, everything is happening right now, and all the pieces are coming together of who has been threatening Nicholas. And it's a wild time, but I'm loving it. I think I've got a little bit left in this book, but it's so good. But this plot twist is crazy. I just had to come on and share that. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading. Bye. Does this book have me crying? Yeah, it does. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I have a review for you of The Unlikely Spare by Jex Calder. I mean, you already kind of know my thoughts. I feel like I discussed them in the last time I spoke to you, but I'm obsessed with this book. It was so good. It was so good. It's one of my favorite romances of this year, hands down, easily. It was fantastic. I loved it. I loved our characters. I loved the drama. I loved the little tiny bit of like thriller, crime aspect of it. In romance, we want to be focusing on the romance, but I do think when you're doing a royal based book that involves someone from the British monarchy, it's really important to touch on that and that reflection that Nicholas had, especially in like how to make this right. And I'm going to include some of my favorite kind of highlights from this book towards the end. And it's just so true, like, you know, he didn't personally do this, but he also benefits from an institution that has. And how do you make that right? And how do you change that moving forward when there's been so much pain and just so many atrocities completed and done by the institution that you're a part of and that you represent. And I really like the way that it was handled. So I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I'd highly recommend. Surprised me that it's my favorite book out of this series, actually. I just didn't have... Maybe this is what I need to do, is just not go in with an expectation to books, because I had no expectation that this was going to be my favorite book out of this series, and bam, it's my favorite book out of the series. It's so good. I'd highly recommend reading it. It's been a book that I just couldn't put down. I read it in like 3-4 days. That's The Unlikely Spare. 5 stars from me. It was fantastic. Would highly recommend reading it. Yeah. Loved it. Actually a little shocked just how much I loved it, which I feel like I've said now like 5 times, but it's true. I had a really good time reading it, and now I don't know what I want to read. I don't know. I haven't finished Ricky's book yet. I think I need something more. I think I need like a thriller, or I need a fantasy. I don't know if I can go into another romance right now. That's not what I'm feeling. What I'm really feeling is a little Captive Prince reread, but I should read something new. I'll read Captive Prince soon. Oh, because I really want to do a video on it. But then I'm also like, I should read new books, not reread something else. because I am quite behind in my goal that I had set of how many books I want to read. So then I'm also like, I should probably read new ones, but that's what I'm really craving. That's what I really want. Or I want something that's almost exactly the same as that, pretty much. So I don't know what I'm going to read next. I guess you'll see in the next reading vlog, but there's a couple of books coming out in October that I'm really wanting to read. So they're a little less romance based. A lot of those are more like fantasy based or thriller. Actually, I can't remember what I screenshot, but there was a thriller one that's coming out in October as well. So that seems to be when all the books that I'm wanting to read are coming out. I don't know if there's many coming out in September or not. It seemed like August and October were the 2 months where things were being released. So I'm not sure, but for now, review on The Unlikely Spare, 5 stars. What am I going to read next? Who knows? Maybe there's this author, Josh Lanin, I think the name is, and that's a lot of like thriller based queer books. So I have started one of those, see if it's good, and if not, I'm just gonna read Captive Prince because that's what I want to read. So that's it for this vlog. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. If you have read The Unlikely Spare, please let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you loved it as much as I did. And if you didn't, it's okay to have a different opinion, but it's really good and I'd recommend you checking it out again. I'll see you guys next time in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, for being here. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you then. Bye.